Well, a very popular webtoon True Beauty now has an anime that Crunchyroll licensed, and it is becoming one of my guilty pleasures.
Ha! I knew you would get hooked. Anyway, I loved the webtoon. Watching the anime feels like cozy nostalgia.
For those who don't know, True Beauty is about a South Korean teenager, Lim Jung-young, who masters makeup tutorials online to transfer her entire face and look from a plain ordinary girl with acne issues to a gorgeous beauty. At the beginning, we see her being bullied by other girls before her transformation, and she transfers to another school and then starts a brand new identity with her upgraded look. Basically, the show is a mashup of a coming-of-age story along with a romantic comedy, as there are two high school guys, Sujo and Sojian, who compete for her attention.
Well, the webtoon goes deeper into that. I think there's several arcs where we see Jung from high school to becoming a young adult and social media influencer.
Yeah, that's right. I think we're only 5 episodes into the anime at the time of this recording. Some people might think that the love triangle and Cinderella-esque storyline is cringy, but the series got me thinking about why we love stories about inner beauty. We're talking about one's character and core values.
Just like Cinderella, she was beautiful first on the inside and later beautiful on the outside. I loved the live-action movie that Kenneth Branagh directed, by the way.
That was a good movie, and Lily James was great in the title role. But getting back to True Beauty, the anime, we all know that high school is a weird time in our lives when everything is heightened and overdramatized. At that age, we're still figuring out who we are, and it's really awkward, so the setting of this anime is relatable. But I think the thing that got me was the concept of how inner beauty outlasts the testing of time, when we know physical beauty eventually fades. We've known this throughout human history when we look at classical literature, and yet in this modern day, visually oversaturated world we live in, it's easy to forget, and we need to be reminded of that.
Yeah, these kind of stories are universal. I mean, Cinderella is a fairy tale that Disney made famous through the animated movie. And like Cinderella, True Beauty has a heroine who struggles with not fitting in because of how she's perceived.
It just dawned on me how the topic of shame is key to Jung-young's story. She's ashamed of how she looks without makeup and how others treat her because of her bare face. That sense of shame rules her mind, and it drives her to figuratively put on a mask with makeup so that she can feel free to be another person. But ultimately, she isn't truly free. I know the comedy of the show is her juggling 2 different identities and shenanigans ensue from that, but I think there's a deeper thread here that points to our desire to be free from shame, and that leads to a question of how do we do that?
Is that even possible? In the real world, just like in True Beauty, it feels like everyone is constantly judging everyone else for how they look and comparing each other.
That's the brokenness in our human condition. Social media doesn't help with that, as it can lead to us comparing ourselves to others. I think shame is rooted in a fundamental belief that there's something wrong with who we are, like deep down inside. That's opposed to guilt, where we feel bad for something we have done. So shame is tied deep into our identity, how we see ourselves. And for Jung-young, at least at the beginning of True Beauty, she doesn't believe that she's beautiful on the inside. She has a skewed perspective on her own identity, and that creates the anxiety and panic that drives the comedy of the story.
That's deep. Maybe that's why the original webtoon was so popular. We all can feel that way, and we don't know what to do with that sense of shame.
It's not easy. When it comes to our core identity, when we don't have peace with who we truly are, and we don't feel that sense of being loved simply for who we are, then we can go to extreme lengths to overcompensate for that lack. I think that's one of the greatest human struggles, which is to be loved for who we are.
And I'm guessing that the catch is that often we don't know who we truly are in the first place.
Exactly. That's why there's so much existential thought in some of our stories. We feel this gap inside of our souls that needs to be filled with that unconditional love that is nearly impossible with flawed human beings who will fail each other.
You're turning me into a philosopher with this discussion.
There's no shame in that.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.